Join us on the very first Pembroke Dock Towncast. We'll tell you all about what a towncast is, what it means for Pembroke Dock, how you can get involved. We'll have a little chat about the police station and a run through all the local news and events. Let's get going.
Be strong.
Hello and welcome to the very first edition of Pembroke Dock Towncast, your local podcast information thing, if you want to call it that. So, my name's Lee G. I'm your host, and I'll keep saying we as we go through because I would really like to have a few more presenters with me, and I know there's lots of you out there that are probably thinking about it. So if you do fancy coming and joining me, please drop me a line or reply to some of the messages that we've been exchanging. It would be good to have more voices on the podcast. And I say that having done the Pembroke one and listened to myself drone on for 40 minutes. Yeah, it's good to have somebody else involved. So what I'm going to do today, we're just going to explain what a towncast is, what this will be, what kind of information is on there, how you can get involved. We'll have a little bit of a chat through some of the issues going on in town at the minute, and then we'll finish up with the sporting scoreboard. Okay, so yeah. First of all, this will be available on YouTube for the minute. We've had a couple of issues where we were told stuff about producing it on audio that hasn't quite turned out to be what it is. And then somebody says, "Oh, no, you owe me some money," and we go, "Oh, no, we don't." So anyway, this will be on YouTube to begin with, and then when we've sorted the audio out, we'll put it on audio as well. So if you've never listened to a podcast before, a podcast is really simple. It would normally be two or three of us on Zoom, just having a chat about some of the issues in town. And the good thing with a podcast is nobody tells you what to do. We're not the BBC or anything like that. So there's nobody saying you must do this and you must do that. And there's no real restrictions. So we can talk about whatever we want to talk about. Can't say whatever we want to say. We still got to stick within, reasonable guidelines. But that's what a podcast can do. And you eventually you will be able to listen to this usually through your phone, through your radio. Most people can plug their phone into their radio now in the car and listen to it that way. Through your phone, you can listen to YouTube through your phone on your laptop and all of those kind of things. So it'll be a really easy, convenient way of doing it in the future. So we're just getting going at the minute. And what I've had, so I've been doing podcasts for 4 or 5 years, 3 or 4 years, 3 or 4 years now. And what I've found is it is a lot easier to get things going and then make them better than to wait until it's perfect and then launch it. So yes, this isn't perfect. I know some of you will be commenting on that already, but it's up, it's running, and we're going to get there. Okay. So what is a towncast? So a towncast is a town-based podcast, and we're going to cover Pembroke Dock. So we're Pembroke Dock, Penna, Carew, Cosheston, that kind of area. There is the Pembroke one. The Pembroke one covers Pembroke, Lampfee, Handleton, Angle, Stackpole, and everything kind of up that way, Moncton. So, we between the two podcasts, we cover a fair old area, and the whole point of it is to bring you the information that you need just to kind of make life a little bit easier through the week or to a bit more interesting. So we split the towncast into three sections. First section is the news desk. So on the news desk, we'll bring you, any interesting bits that are going on in the town, any interesting news from the town. It won't be down to an individual level. So Mr. A from B Street got arrested for drunk and disorderly, and none of that on there. It'll be town issues, and you will see that in a minute. We'll do that in a minute. Then we have a bit in the middle we call the chatty room, and the chatty room is all about, we'll pick a subject each week, and when we'll discuss it, and we'll have different points of views, and we'll have different ideas on what it is, and we're relevant. We'll do a bit of research and give you a bit of a steer on it. So to give you an idea, this week we're going to talk about relocating the police station on that. But then there's loads of other stuff that's going on in the town. There's a whole load of properties just been sold off in the port. There's lots of stuff going on in the port at the minute that would be good to know about. There's the redevelopment up on the bridge. There's loads of things that we can talk about in town that are important to you. And so if it's important to you, by all means, email it in. The email address is ilovetowncast@gmail.com. That's ilovetowncast@gmail.com. So I was listening to myself back on the Pembroke one, and it kind of sounded like Towncasts with an S on the end. So it's not. It's ilovetowncast@gmail.com. And that's if you want to get involved as well. If you want to come on and be a presenter as well, you can message me on there, or you can drop me a line on Facebook. Either of those is great. So after we've done the chatter room, we'll do the scoreboard. So the scoreboard is an update of all the local sports clubs and things like that, really. So I'm aware that this is probably the worst time of the year to start, because we're at the end of the football season, we're at the end of the rugby season. That's where most of the teams are. Cricket season hasn't really started, so we're at this drop off in the middle between the two. But I know there's lots of other clubs. There's hockey, there's netball, there's golf, there's whatever club it is. Message me in, let me know what's going on, and your fixtures, your results, and I'll put it out there, and that'll be great to do that. So that's kind of the format that we're going to work to. We're within the news desk as well. We'll throw in some events. So if you've got any events coming up, whether that's a band playing at a pub, or a charity day, or anything that's a little bit out of the norm that you just want to let people know because this could be interesting, then let us know about that as well. The whole point of this is to connect everybody within the town. If we just rely on social media, the way social media algorithms work, up till now, and probably has been made worse over the last kind of couple of weeks, it will only show you what it thinks you want to see. It won't necessarily give you all the full picture. It won't give you the full picture of the town about what's going on, and it definitely won't give you anything that says here's the facts, here's definitely what it is. Because if that fact hasn't been blown up by a whole load of conversations by people that and like similar things, it won't tell you what's what. So we're trying to break through that and just say to people, like, there's a lot of good stuff going on in the town at the minute. There's a lot of stuff that actually we just need a bit more information on. And that's what this is about. To give you an idea, of where Towncast started, it was an idea where I was trying to find a pharmacy that was open on a Sunday, late on a Sunday, for like a skin rash, and you're like, okay, that just needs a bit of cream or whatever, and we couldn't find one. And in the olden days, so some of you will remember, I can't remember if it was a Tuesday night or a Wednesday. It might be a Wednesday night. That makes more sense. But like about 7, 8 o'clock, you'd have to run over to your nearest newsagent to pick up the Western Telegraph for like about 25p or 50p or something ridiculous like that. And your mum would give you the money, and you'd run over, and you'd take out the middle section that was the Pembroke and Pembroke Dock News, and you just read that, and that was like the all the information that you needed for the week was in there. And then you'd read the sports pages and all of those bits. And yeah, we kind of miss that now. When I was looking for a pharmacy, though, one of the bits of information in that Pembroke Dock pull up would have been the pharmacy rota. So there used to be at least one pharmacy open on a Sunday. Still don't know if they do that, but that's how it used to work. So I was doing podcasts at the time. I was doing a lot of rugby podcasts. Still am doing rugby podcasts. Those are now very successful. We've got about 9 podcasts at the minute. Another 2 to come on board next year. And then, we're up to about 500,000 downloads, things like that. Yeah, and that's all run from my computer in Pembroke Dock in Pembroke. So this we can pretty much do what we want on podcasts. We can reach a lot of people, people who moved away. A lot of people in Pembroke Dock do move away from the town for jobs and whatever, but they want to stay in touch. This is ideal for them. A lot of people visiting Pembrokeshire, and Pembroke Dock isn't really on that list of places to go and visit. So, this could be an easy way of communicating with people that are coming down on holiday. And there are loads of good businesses that are set up in Pembroke Dock. And this hopefully will give those businesses direct access to people in the town. Again, that kind of connection has been removed between businesses and residents, where it's all a little bit more, you search for something that may well be sold cheaper in your town centre, but Amazon will tell you this is the cheapest way to do it. And if you search for that on Google, that's what's going to come up because millions of other people do it. So that's what a towncast is. That's what a towncast is aiming to do. And I would really like you guys to get involved. I say the ideal number of presenters is 3 or 4, and we can rotate in and out and what have you. So yeah, come and get involved. Come and have a chat. It's dead simple. Age is not a barrier. Capability is not a barrier. I literally started with nothing when I started podcasting. So yeah, I knew nothing. If you go back and listen to some of my early stuff, you'll see that I genuinely did not know anything. So you learn as you go along and you adapt as you go along. Yeah, we did the Pembroke one yesterday and listen back to it and go, okay, well, some bits on there we can improve it. And now that it's up and running, it's easy for people to see this is what it is. Okay, I can get involved in that. So do drop me a line. Ilovetowncast@gmail.com. I would love to have other people involved in this and get a few more voices about what's going on in the town. Okay, so that's all done and dusted. That's what a towncast is. That's how it works. That's why I want you involved. So let's actually start with the first towncast for Pembroke Dock. So I'm going to start with news desk. So in the news desk this week, we have got, I guess the key bit on the news desk is the Cleather Bridge Hotel redevelopment. So, I mean, that burnt down in 2019. That was 6 years ago. Massive. I was in Pembroke Dock when that place was built and opened for the first time. So, yeah, it's been closed for a long time. I think it was closed like 2 or 3 years before it burnt down in 2019. So it's really good to see something going in there that's going to be worthwhile. So reports on social media coming out of the council and on the local news this week is that 35 new homes are going to go onto that site, and they are going to be homes that are going to be available for local residents through Pembrokeshire County Council. So it's a partnership between Pembrokeshire County Council and Castell Developments to, essentially, we keep saying, we're local houses for local people, and why are they no council? We've sold off so many council houses that now trying to get a council house is quite difficult. 35 of them coming on board. Not going to solve all the problems, but it will solve the problem for 35 local families. And I think that's a really good thing. I really do. Um, Particularly in that area where it is kind of a nice area. So that danger of being pushed out the way and in a corner where it's all a bit rubbish isn't there. That it's a nice area. So yeah, if you can get hold of one of those houses, it'll be good for you. Um, I mean, it is a couple of years away. They haven't even done the demolishing yet, but they've announced that this is going to happen, and that's a good thing. So if you're on the council house list, then the advice is to stay up to date, keep everything up to date, keep talking to the council if you're looking for a council house because this is coming. So well done to everybody on that one. So I've not really. I have to say I asked town council for any updates on road closures or anything like that, and guys, you do not know how lucky you are to have the town council that you have. Because anytime I've asked Pembroke Dock Town Council for information, it comes back, bang on straight away. They're really, really cooperative and really helpful and very on the ball, and the stuff they give you is bang on. So, yeah, big shout out and a big thank you to Pembroke Dock Town Council. I'm sure we'll do more with the Town Council as we get going. So there's no part of what I want to do with the news desk is road closures and bits and bobs like that. Because that's always the bit. If it's unexpected, you can't plan for it, and it starts to get on your nerves. So the only road closures that actually affect Pembroke Dock at the minute and nothing to do with Pembroke Dock. It's the closure of the A40 for the they're finishing off integrating the A40, so that'll be fully open. I think it's another two. I think about Easter, the plan is to have that fully open. But in the meantime, traffic's been diverted uh, through us and up on the A477. So what you'll notice is over weekends, the roundabout coming down from the bridge, the telephone exchange roundabout is a little bit more busy. Going out of town will be a little bit more busy, but that's the only road difference that we've got at the minute. Okay, so and events again, town council really helpful with events that are coming up, but they're all in May, so I'll share those with you in May, first weekend of May, around the bank holiday sort of time. Loads of events going on, but I'll share those with you as we get a bit closer. If you've got any events or things that you would like to publicise, then by all means drop me a line, because I would love to publicise them for you. Okay. So kind of in news depth and kind of in the chatty room this week is the police station moving from Water Street, opposite the library, up to the old county council offices next to Argyle Street in the old community centre there. So it's really weird. So for anyone that came through Pembroke Dock Junior School, myself included, to go to the doctors on what used to be your classroom and your playground is weird. But that council site, that's where we used to go and do football on a Friday afternoon with Mr. Wright. We used to play cricket in there with Mr. Wright and things like that. And yeah, it's really weird. That was where we did all of our um, Christmas shows, and it's where I made my debut as and I'm genuine on this. My first school Christmas play, I was the town drunk. I had 3 lines and I missed my first cue. So yeah, that was all in that building. So that's the building that we're talking about, is the community centre, and moving it from Water Street up to there. And I've seen a load of comments on social media, and I've seen a load of people scaremongering on this as well. Okay. And I totally get that residents close to Argyle Street might have a little bit of concern about it and might need reassuring. Um, what doesn't help with that is that when people need reassurance, instead of going, okay, here's the report on it, here's what the new police station will look like, as opposed to what the old police station will look like. And people kind of going like, oh, there'll be sirens going off 24 hours a day. There'll be drunks in the street. There'll be nowhere to park. It's genuinely going to be nothing like that. So my understanding on this, okay, the reason that the police, either way we go, the police are getting rid of Water Street. Okay, that's the key bit. One way or another, the police are coming out of the police station in Water Street, selling it off. It's an old building. It's 3 stories high. I think there's only the first floor has been used for a long time. Used to have CID in there. Used to have specialist people in there. None of that is in there anymore. It's all centralised in Haverfordwest. Um, got a cell in there. It's got 2 cells in there. Parking around the back. It had, well, when the ambulance station that used to be next door left, I think they took over that site as well, and that is now residential um, premises for police officers, and that's always been the case that those houses next to the police station were residences. I don't think that they're occupied that much. I don't know, but from what I've been told, it's very much a short-term thing as people kind of move into the area more than anything. So a lot of that station is very, very old. We're talking, I think it was built in the 60s, maybe 60s, mid 70s, something like that. But that's when it was built, and it was built for the needs of the time back then. The needs of the time now are very, very different to back then. Um, and it's falling apart. So I think the police are right to get rid of it. It's a lot of space that's not used. They've still got to pay the insurance on it. They've still got to pay the heating for it. They've still got to pay all these massive costs that will go with that site. And looking at that from a payment point of view, would you rather the police just keep throwing money down the drain on a building that they don't need, or would you rather they went to a smaller site that's a bit easier to manage and actually the cost reduce, and that money that was saved can be invested into extra police? I know where I sit on that. And I don't think it's a difficult argument. Certainly, if you've been around that building, yeah, I went around that building with the Pembroke Cubs, where I must have been, gosh, 7 or 8. Um, you know, and it looked old then. It was ironically one of the boys. So it had 2 holding cells, and you walk through one on the left, one on the right. So, and as a joke, they said, "Oh, who wants to be locked in a cell?" And there was one kid who put his hand up and went, "Yeah, yeah, yeah, I'd love to be locked up." And they put him in and they locked. And when they closed the door, it is a loud clunk, and they had a big old set of keys, those old-fashioned keys, and all of that kind of stuff. And it was a holding cell, so it was just bars. There wasn't a wall and a door, which I think is there now, but it was at that time it was just bars. And yes, we locked him in and walked on. And the irony is that guy did genuinely get locked up and do time in prison. So yeah, he got used to it from a very early age. So anyway, the second part to that argument is that the right site to be relocated to? So for me, yes, it is, because policing is very different to the old style of what we used to have even in the 80s and 90s. Even the noughties were very different to where we are now in terms of policing. Um, my understanding is it'll be a police community hub. So you'll be able to, if you've tried reporting anything to the front desk in Water Street, you'll know that that's quite difficult. It isn't open 24 hours a day. It isn't open consistently. It's very much random hours, and all that happens is you speak to a civilian who will pass your concerns on to the police. So, at least if you've got a police hub, that contact is there. It's a bit easier for people to get to. It's a bit more central in the town. The question around parking and sirens going off. I used to live next to the police station in Pembroke Dock through the 80s and 90s, and I don't remember. I remember the odd siren going off every now and again. I don't remember it being a major inconvenience. We didn't have um, double glazing or anything back then, but it wasn't an issue back then. And I think the if you're in a residential area, police are much more aware of that being an issue now. So they only put blues and twos. Everybody calls it blues and twos. I'm going to share a little story with you now. My daughter calls it blues and woos because from a young age, she said, "Well, they don't go two two two; they go woo woo woo." And that's kind of stuck. So we call it blues and woos. So forgive me if I stumble over blues and twos because in my head it's blues and woos. So they don't put the sirens on when they're leaving the station unless they absolutely need to. They don't put the sirens on just to get somewhere faster unless the need is there. And the reality is that if they're putting those sirens on, then they would have been doing that anyway. They would have been traveling across Bush Street anyway to get to where they need to get to. So I don't think that's going to be that major an issue. I think it'll be a minor inconvenience that will be offset by the fact that you feel a little bit safer in that area, particularly opposite the park. You want to feel that that park area is very, very safe and secure. And if the police station is right opposite, how much more secure do you want to be? So I think those two really offset themselves. The bit about how many cars will be parking there, I think we need to be realistic about the Argyle Street surgery, that it's not massively parking isn't an issue there at the minute. I've had a couple of medical issues over the last 2 or 3 years that have meant I've visited the um the doctor's surgery frequently and never not failed to find a parking space in that original car park. So with the police going around the back, how many police cars are going to be there? Minimal. How many police are going to be in there? Minimal. If you knew how many police were actually covering Pembroke and Pembroke Dock at certain times of the week, it is scary. Okay. So for me, I don't think that's going to be that much of an issue. I think it's being overblown by people on social media. I genuinely do. I cannot see a time where you go to Argyle Street surgery and you can't get a parking space because the police are parked there. It just isn't there. The issues with Argyle Street surgery we will discuss on future pods. Absolutely. Um, the issues there aren't around have they got more. I've seen people saying, why can't the surgery expand and why can't the surgery take over the community centre and that way they'd be able to see more people. That's not the issue with Argyle Street surgery. The issue with Argyle Street surgery is all the doctors left at Brexit and haven't come back. So that's where the issue is we can't get the doctors into that surgery to serve the population. So just having another empty building where no doctors can not serve people doesn't make any sense. So for me, the final bit on that is we know that the police are going to leave Water Street. Your choices are they go to the community centre or where? And, is there another site around Pembroke or Pembroke Dock where the police would go? Realistically, the only sites are out of town. The ambulance station has gone out of town. and I don't think it's as relevant for the ambulance station. They need good access to roads. Bang, they've got it. Uh, the police are much more of a visible service, so having them in the middle of the town centre to me makes a lot of sense. Where else would you put them? I can't think of anywhere in town that's got a decent modern building with the services that the police would need at the size that the police would need. There just isn't anywhere there. If they could go somewhere in the port, I suppose, but then they'd have to build a place. There isn't really anywhere there that is up and ready to go. Um, they could go up Lanyon, but again, that would require building a new site, and that's a massive investment. Whereas this is just a very, very simple, straightforward, cost-effective, service-effective move. So for me, I'm absolutely backing it. I don't see an issue with it at all. I think the fears are being overblown, and it's great clickbait. It's absolutely great clickbait because you put a story like that out, and if you're one of our, I say local press, they're obviously owned by bigger nationals, and that's why you get the reports about what's going on in Cardiff, in Gloucester, in Liverpool. I saw a report the other day of something happening in Liverpool, reported by our local newspaper. So, you know, though it's great clickbait for them because people will instantly go, right, okay, yeah, I'm going to read on that, and it will blow up. And then the more comments there are, the more people will read, and the more they get paid. That's not necessarily a good thing because it's inflating the wrong message. Um, so my understanding is that the town council have discussed it. So the town we're planning things like this. The town council are involved. So next time there's a town election, this is the sort of stuff you need to be asking them and getting involved with. Okay, because your town councillors are now representing you on a body between the police and PCC about what happens with this move. Okay, and there's a site visit where all parties concerned will meet, discuss, and come up with a decision. Okay, and I think that's a really good. I hope it happens nice and quick. To be honest, because the danger is that the police leave Water Street while everyone else shouts at each other about whether the community centre is the right place for the police to go. And then the police will turn around and go, actually, we're operating quite well without a police station in Pembroke Dock. If it's going to be this much hassle, why bother? And that's a genuine concern. That if you kick up that much fuss about a police station there, how much fuss are you going to kick up with no police station? Okay, and sometimes you just got to go, okay, it may not be perfect, but it's better than the worst case. And if it's better than the worst case, then we got to live with it. Okay. So that's my point of view. By all means, put your comments, your thoughts, your ideas in the YouTube comments below or on our social media post. I'll be happy to have that chat with everyone on that. Okay. So that's the end of our chatty bit. Hey, chatty, this is why I need somebody with me. It's very, very difficult to have a chat with yourself and have a counter point of view on that. And I know other people have got different points of views. So, the email address is there, ilovetowncast@gmail.com. Message me. Let's get you on. Let's have a conversation. Let's put a different point of view because there are plenty of different points of views, and that's just mine. Rightly or wrongly, that's just mine. So if you want to get involved, drop us a line. Let's get involved on that. What I will say on that is that this podcast is all about talking about the positivity. What could be done, all the good things that are going on in town. Let's shout about them. Let's inflate them. Let's give them some of the publicity that they rightly deserve. Because at the minute they aren't getting any. As I said earlier, on social media, it's a very negative downward spiral. And actually, counteracting that and going, hey, here's something to be proud about, here's something to celebrate, here's something that's good. That's really, really difficult to get social media attention on that. Okay, so if you have got a good story and it is something you want to shout about, then let us know, because that's the sort of thing we want to talk about. Okay, so while I talk about our YouTube channel, please like and subscribe. It makes a massive difference to us on our subscription numbers. There isn't any cost or payment to anybody on this at the minute. I take the costs on the Zoom calls and things like that. We need to get to 1,000 subscribers before we make any money from doing this, and that will cover our costs for Zoom subscriptions or whatever the audio costs that they didn't tell us about. So if you can subscribe, share, and tell your mates, that would be fantastic, because it will really help us to keep delivering this kind of message to people. So yeah, subscribe to our YouTube. Fan Dabby Dozy. Okay, let's take a look at the sports scoreboard for this week then. So I wanted to start this round about Christmas time, and I've ummed and ahed and in and out, and other things have happened and whatever. So we're at the end of the season now. And the end of the season, um, sometimes it can be really, really exciting as it happens. For us, it's not. So I'm going to cover the rugby, the football. We will move into cricket. But if you're part of the netball team, part of the hockey team, whatever other octopus, I know we've got a really, really good octopus team. Part of the polo, canoe polo, anything like that. Drop us a line, let us know what's happening. Because we'd really like to hear from athletics as well. If anybody's involved in athletics, please go and have a look at the Pembrokeshire Harriers page. Desperately needing coaches, too many kids, not enough coaches. Would be an absolute shame if that wasn't able to continue. Those of us that have been involved in athletics know that we've produced more Welsh champions per head out of that club than any other county in Wales. So we have some phenomenal young athletes. We've got some fantastic coaches. We need more coaches so that we can keep providing that for athletes that go through the club. I was part of it when it was Clever Athletic, where we used to train at the school. And I still talk to some of my friends and my coaches from back then. And then I've gone through Pembrokeshire Harriers. My kids have gone through Pembrokeshire Harriers, and it's just a fantastic club. So if you can get involved in that, please do. Anyway, back to the scoreboard. Let's start with rugby. So Quins have got one game left. They're going to finish mid-table in Division 4. Not really going to be challenging for a promotion position. But they play Narberth Athletic on the 19th. So it's a while away yet. That's their last game of the season against Narberth Athletic. Narberth Athletic are aiming for promotion. They will be second place. I think Neyland are guaranteed promotion. Narberth are currently in second place. So it's a real shame. It's a real shame that we're in Division 4 and we're in that place. But there we go. It is what it is. We start again from next season and we go again next year. Moving on to football then, in Division 1, we got Penna Robins and Carew. So Robins beat Clarby yesterday 3-1 at home, and Carew beat Kilgetty 3-0 away on, I think it was on Tuesday night. They're doing okay in Division 1. I'll share the finishing tables next week with everyone. Division 2 has pretty much finished, where Carew reserves will finish in 8th on that. Same goes for Division 3. They're pretty much, there are a couple of games, but it won't affect the Borough finishing in 4th in Division 3. Division 4, quite a few games over the weekend in Division 4. So the Robins seconds beat Tenby seconds away 4-1. Good win for them. They will finish top of the league. which is great for the Robins. So they'll go up to Division 3 next year. And the Borough Reserves finish at the other end of the table, and we'll be going down into Division 5. We've got no interest in Division 5 at the minute, no teams in there. So, hey, let's look on the bright side. We've now got an interest in Division 5 next season. So I think we're just rounding up some of the missed games through the middle of the season. So there's no fixture list out and available, but there are a couple of games that still need to be played. Some of those are key, but not all of them, in all honesty. So, yeah, we're coming to the end of the season, and I'll share the finishing tables, if you like, next week on the podcast. So finally, then we've got cricket. So if you're a follower of Pembroke Dock Cricket Club, you see a lot of work going on there at the minute, a lot of really, really good work to improve the nets and improve the facilities. I trained in those nets when I was 11, 12, 13 years old, right up until I was allowed in the bar. Is when I trained in those nets and played at the club. So I think the first round of fixtures are coming on April 26th. It's going to be a really good season for the Dock this year. So if you are involved, I know they're looking to build a women's team, and I know they're always looking to build junior teams. So if you're interested, have a look on the page on Facebook and get yourself down to up to the Dock. It's a really good club. It's a weird location because you can't see it from the road, but it's just the other side of the top wall as you go across the top road. So it's a really friendly club. It's run by really good people. To give you an idea, when I was playing, we were in Division 7. They were in Division 7. I used to play for the seconds, and I was very much a social player. They used to chuck a ball in my hand and ask me to bowl, and I'd be as confused as the batsman as to where the ball ended up. But I had some really, really good times at the cricket club and made lots of friends. Lots of my friends are still involved. And we do meet up there every now and again just to watch the odd game. I say we watch the game. We go in the bar and then we take a couple of beers out on the side of the pitch. One of us will always fall asleep. Just the way it goes. So, yeah, if you want to get involved in Pembroke Dock Cricket Club, the page on Facebook, I'll share it on socials at some point through this week. They're always looking for players, and it's looking like a good season ahead for the Dock Cricket Club. Okay, so ladies and gents, thank you for sticking with me for this fight. If you have stuck with me, you round of applause. Well done. Hopefully we can get some more people involved through the next couple of weeks, and we can make it a bit more interactive, and we can start sharing news articles and whatever, and just make it a bit more interesting for people. But the key bit is that we've got it up and running. We are going. So if you want to get involved, Ilovetowncast@gmail.com. Please send us a message. I would love to hear from you. Please like and subscribe our YouTube channel. It makes a massive difference. And in the meantime, have a great week. I'll see you next week. All the best. Be strong. Be strong.